Have you ever wanted to create an epic cinematic game trailer that looks like something straight out of a AAA game? Well, you're in the right place. In this course, I'll guide you through the complete process of creating stunning cinematic scenes using Unreal Engine 5. Whether you're a beginner or already familiar with Unreal Engine, this course is designed to give you practical real-world skills. We'll start by mastering the basics, setting up the sequencer, controlling cinematic cameras, and animating scenes. You'll learn how to create realistic slow-motion bullet shots, blood effects. For blood effect, I'll show you how you can create your own particle effects using Niagara system in Unreal Engine, muzzle flashes, and dynamic hit and death reactions that bring intensity and life to your project. For particle effects, I'll show you how you can control particle effects in the sequencer, so that way you can have whatever you want with particle effects. Then we'll set up the action by building a fully functional tank. You'll learn how to set up vehicle physics, turret rotation, and how to record realistic tank animations using Tech Recorder. I'll show you how to capture gameplay movement with true physics and realism. We'll also attach a character to the tank to make the scenes more immersive and cinematic. You'll master creating dynamic camera shots, creating camera shakes, applying reusable camera shakes for tank firing and movement, and shooting the same scene from multiple exciting angles. Once our scenes are ready, I'll teach you how to render high quality cinematic videos using the movie render queue, and how to optimize your render using powerful console variables for the best visual results. And finally, in the bonus section, we'll move on into After Effects. Here you'll learn how to combine your Unreal Engine shots, add transitions, text, cinematic effects, and assemble everything into a polished, professional quality game trailer. By the end of this course, you will have the knowledge and hands-on experience to create breathtaking cinematics and a trailer you can proudly showcase in your portfolio. Let's get started and create something truly amazing. Hey, welcome again. So this was the first shot we took from here. Like you can see right here, this character is shooting and the bullet slow motion. And finally we have this other character. That's great. But there is one more thing. I just want to add a tank in here, so that way like the trailers should be more action. That's the thing. Like if you have these tanks in your game, you can add that to the trailer as well. That would be amazing. So let's add this to the game. When you come here to the fub.com, you can search for tank like this. And here you can find a lot of tanks. You can apply some filters to find a specific one you want. I'll tell them we want Unreal Engine ones, like the tanks which are for Unreal Engine. Then I can come here to the price and tell them we want the ones which are free. You can see we have a lot of these tanks. This one is here. We have this other one, this one, and all of them looks great. But the one I want to use is right in here. I think this is the best one. You can see we have these weapons in here, and that looks just amazing. You can add that to the library first. Then after adding that to the library, you can view this in launcher. You need to open the Epic Games launcher like this. And then after coming to the library, here you can search for tank again. And if you cannot see, you need to refresh this in here, and then when you can see that right in here, you can add it to the project. Click in here, search for your project. It will not be available in here, so you will tell them show all the projects. You can see now we have this. You can select that one, and Unreal Engine version is this 4.27, and then you can add this to the project like that. After adding this to the project, you can come back to Unreal Engine and you will have that right in here. Well, did you have added the other tank? So you can use that tank as well, but like both of them will work the same because like they're the same thing. I mean, like they work the same, like their logic and things are same, so that's why you can use this other one as well, because that one is already in the project. But if you want to use this one, you can add this one to the project as well. That's very simple. And then you can just drag it and drop it to the world like this. And look at that. That looks amazing. We just need to add some more lights as well. So I'll just come in here. And where is this light coming from? I think this is right in here. I'll just bring it a little up like this, little this side, and I'll duplicate it once again and bring it to this side as well. Now you can see we have this one, and it is too dark. I think it's not that good to be that dark in this area. That's why I can just duplicate this one light in here. I can just bring it a little down in here so that we can see the tank a little better. And I'll just duplicate this one as well and bring it a little down like this. Now you can see that is a little better. We can add some lights to the tank as well. Now you can see the tank will come from that side. But there's one thing, like you can add some animations to this and it will move around. That would be good. But if you want perfect animations for your vehicle, like any vehicle, it can be a tank, it can be like normal vehicles. If you want to add some perfect animations with physics and things, like you drive the vehicles in the game and you want the same animations in here, and Unreal Engine have a very good method for that, and that's called sequence recorder. Like you can record anything you're doing in the game. I mean, not the screen record, but their animations. Like you can record their perfect animations and use that as a sequencer. That would be very helpful. That will save you a lot of time, and also that would be perfect, like realistic with all Unreal Engine physics systems and things. That's why I'll show you how you can set up this vehicle to drive it in here and then record its animations and then set up the camera in here, and that would be perfect. So what can we do? If I come here to this tank, you can see we have two of them. This is another blueprint that's a child of this other one. So this is the one which we'll be using. So I'll come in here to the parent class. This is the parent which we added in here. I'll remove this one from here. We'll add the other one later on. I'll change this name a little easier because that's a huge name. I'll tell him this is blueprint, a simple thing, tank, like that. Now you can see the tank is a child of this class, and if I open this class, this is a child of actor class. There is one problem in Unreal Engine. If you come and add this to the map like this, and you want to play this tank around, like possess this tank, you know what the possess means, like you can control the tank when you possess that, so you can drive it around. If I come in here and search for possess, you can see we cannot find anything. Why is that? Because this is a child of actor class, and actors cannot be possessed, cannot be controlled by player controller. If you want to control an actor, that should not be an actor, that should be derived from pawn class. That's the problem. That's why I'll come here and tell him we want to reparent this class from actor class to pawn class. So I'll come here to class settings, and here you can change the parent class. But we don't want to use the pawn class. We can use the wheeled vehicle pawn. If I come here and search for chaos vehicles, you can see here we have this chaos vehicles plugin. You need to enable this one first. If it's not enabled, it will not work. So you have to enable this plugin. After enabling this plugin, now you can come in here and search for wheeled vehicle pawn. Now you can reparent this class from actor class to wheeled vehicle pawn. That way it would be like perfect. You can easily use the steering, the throttle, and all the functionality from that class. Then I'll compile and save everything. I'll close this one. I'll come right in here. I'll compile and save everything in here as well. Now you can see we have some of these things. We're not going to change that. We'll do some of our own work in here. But the good thing is now we can possess this. If I come here and search for possess, it's disabled. I'll tell them player 1 and I'll save everything. If I play the game, you can see we're possessing this class. But there's this thing like the game mode. That's not the game mode we want to use. So I'll just select none in here, and then I'll play this time. Now you can see still it seems like we have these menus and things. That's not a problem because that's with this tank and things, I think. So that would be all right. But there's one thing we want, add a camera in here. So it's very simple. You can come in here and just add a camera which should be attached to the skeletal mesh. So I'll search for a spring arm. You already know how you can add a camera, and then I'll add a camera to the spring arm like this. And yeah, that's very simple. I can just come in here and change the I'll bring this up in here, then I'll change this target length a little bit, and then I can just bring it a little up like this. Then I'll rotate this maybe a little bit like this. I'll compile and save. Let's play if that is good or not. I think that is good. Now you can just play it around and things, but till now it is not working. You cannot just go around and things because, well, you know, we haven't set any functionality for that, and we'll talk about that in the next lecture. But there is this thing, I think it's very dark in here. We need to add some lights and things into this map, or I'll just need to bring the directional light a little up like this. Then we can just render two different sequences. In one sequence we can just make the dark mode for that like bullet travel, and for this tank we can just add the light mode like this. You can see that's a little better, maybe not that much. I'll just bring this like this. I can see that seems to be a little better. Everything is visible. You can see right in here everything is visible. Yeah, now the tank can come, and then we can rotate the turret around and shoot. So now we want to control this tank. It's very simple. You can come right in here. I'll tell him here we have blueprints. I'll create a new folder for that, and I'll call that input. So we need an input. You should already know about these things. I'll come to input. I'll create input mapping context. I'll call this input mapping context something like input, or maybe tank input, so that we can understand it's related to tank. And then I can come here to input action. I'll tell him IA one for looking around, and I'll create one more input action from the input, and I'll call that IA means input action, and I'll tell him move, like moving the tank around. That's great. Now you can see we can save everything. I'll open the look. I'll tell him we want access to D for look. I'll save everything for that, and then I can come here and open the move as well, and I'll tell him we need a float value for this one. I'll save this one. Then I'll come here and open the tank input. I'll add this one. First I'll add the move one. In move we need to move forward using W key, and we can also move backward using S key. I'll come here, add modifier to S key, and tell him negate the value so we can move backward. And I'll come here, and this time I'll add the look, and for look I'll search for mouse XY to D axis like that. I'll save everything for that. I'll compile. I'll come right in here, and now you can see we can work in event graph. You can see there are some things going on in here, but first thing we need to come here to the begin play, and in begin play I'll tell him first I'll get the controller like this, and this is the controller. I'll tell him cast to player controller so we can get the player controller, and from player controller we can get the player local subsystem like that. You can see we have get enhance input to local player subsystem. That's the one. I'll tell him if this is valid, it's good to check this first. If this is valid, then we need to do some work. I'll tell him we need to add input mapping. I'll tell him add input mapping context like that with priority of 0. I'll just come here and select our tank input. Now you can see we have that, and then I can come in this area. I'll just comment this and tell him adding mapping context like that, and that's a good one. I'll just bring it a little up, and then I'll come this side. I'll make this dark. These comments I just like the dark color with them, they looks great. Then I can come here and I'll tell him IA look. Here you can see we have the look, and I can just tell him split struct. You can see we have these two, and tell him when this is triggered, then we can add controller pitch input from Y, and also we can add controller yaw input from X like this. Simple thing. You can just tell him when it's started, when it's ongoing, when it's cancelled, or when it is completed, like that. Now we can look around, but still it will not work perfectly fine. You can see we cannot look around. That's because I'll just come down here to the spring arm and tell him use spawn control rotation, like that. I'll compile and save. Now if I come here, and you can see we can just look around, and that is great. But there is one problem, and that's with pitch. I just want to negate the value. I'll just tell him multiply this value by -1, so that way it will work as I want, like most the games work like that. Now you can see it's a little better, but we cannot move forward or backward. That's kind of problem, and we can simply fix that. We already have the move one, so I'll come in here, down here, and then I'll search for IA, and that's move. I'll come here and take this one, and I'll tell him move around. I can come here, find this vehicle movement component. This vehicle movement component would be added when you change the parent class of this actor class to build vehicle class, like that. Then from here you can just tell him throttle input. You can see we have set throttle input. I'll tell him we will set the throttle input from the action value, like this. And when it's started, when it's ongoing, when it is cancelled, or when it's completed, we want to update this in all the cases. If you don't, sometimes you'll face kind of problems. Now you can see I'll save everything. Now if I play the game, and if I just press W, it seems like we cannot move around. That's also a problem, because you just need to come here and select the mesh, which is the main mesh, this skeletal mesh. I'll come down here and tell him enable physics, and this one physics are required, simulate physics. I'll compile and save. Let's play the game. This time still it's not moving around, so the problem seems to be right in here. You can see now when we change the parent class of this actor class to the vehicle class, now we have this one extra mesh in here. That's the vehicle mesh. Like this should be the actual mesh. That's why I'll just come right in here. I'll just disable physics and this one, and yeah, like that. This thing is fine. Now I'll take the mesh. I'll select the mesh like this, and then I'll remove the mesh from here. I'll just tell him to clear this. I'll bring the mesh into this area. Now you can see the mesh should be right in here. Now if I compile, you can see everything's all right, but the mesh is now in vehicle mesh. I also need to select the blueprint. If I come here, this is the blueprint. I'll just apply that blueprint in here. Do we have anything else in here? I think that's fine. Now if I compile and save everything, the thing we need to do is to come here, simulate physics and this one, and I'll compile and save, and now let's play the game. Now you can see it is still seems a little problems with this vehicle. So to fix this problem, I'll come right here and open the parent class. In parent class, this is the skeletal mesh that we don't use anymore, so I'll just simply remove this, and yeah, it is very simple, because now we have this new skeletal mesh and we don't need that. I'll come right here, and in this area in parent class, I'll just tell him we will select the skeletal mesh, which is right in here. I'll just search for this one, and then I can apply it right in here. Same thing I can do for animation blueprint. I'll come and search for this and apply it in here. That would be great. I'll compile. Now you can see we have a lot of problems, because that skeletal mesh were used in some places, so that's why I'll just use this mesh instead of that old mesh. Now you can see simple. I'll compile, then I'll go to other one. Here you can see we're using set visibility of the mesh. I'll just bring this mesh, and then I'll compile. Then we are using it in here as well, and then I'll just add it in here, compile, and for one last time it will be in this area as well. I think that's all. Now I'll compile and save. That error would be gone. And yeah, now we have this skeletal mesh without that one. I'll come here and compile this one as well. Now you can see we don't have that, and these things are attached to this skeletal mesh. Now if I compile and save everything and come in here and play the game, you can see this still is some kind of problem. That's because of the physics asset we have in there. So we have this problem, and you can see we have all these effects and things, and we will not be using them. So this is the things we need to remove, but we cannot remove them from here because we've added them in the parent class. So I'll come back to the parent class, and in parent class I'll just select all this. You can see we have this wheel effects and things like this is the damaged model. We're not using this, like we don't want to damage the vehicle in this case. We don't want to add this gunfire and things, so I'll just remove all this. If I compile now, you can see we have a lot of errors. If I come here, this is one of the errors, so we can just stop anywhere we have error like this. Now I'll just tell them we'll not set any visibility. I'll come in here, you can see this is error and this is error as well. I think, yeah, one more error to go, and that's right in here. I'll just disable this one as well, then I'll compile. Now the compilation is successful. I'll come in here, the compilation, everything is fine here as well. Now if I play the game, you can see the tank is fine, and still it cannot move for whatever reason. If I come back in here, the physics and things are enabled. This is vehicle, and that is great. If I come back to the components, so you can see there are a lot of things in components that we need to change in this component, actually not in the setup. This is the vehicle component. I'll just come down here. Now you can see we have everything in here as well, and let's just bring this a little up like this. And now if I play the game, you can see it stands in the air. That means like the gravity does not affect this tank. So when you see this type of problems in your project, that means this comes from the physics asset. So if I come here, let's find the physics asset. Here you can see we have this physics asset. If I open this, you can see there are a lot of things going on in here. And for this physics asset, we only need these three of them, because for the vehicles we'll create our own vehicle classes, and the other things we don't need, so we only need these three. So I'll come here and create a new physics asset from this. I'll right click on this one and tell them create a new physics asset. I'll tell them to create and assign, so we want to use it as well. And then I'll tell them this is okay, we can just change its name because it's a huge name. I'll just give it name like physics asset, something like that, and I'll call the tank. Simple thing. Now you can see there are a lot of things in here. As I told you, we don't need all of them. I'll just come in here and delete the whole thing like this. So now we don't have anything anymore. I'll save everything. I'll come here. From this we just need this one. I'll just Control Shift C to copy, or you can right click on this one and copy that from here. And then I'll paste it right in here, Control Shift V like this. And now you can see this is default, gravity is enabled, and this is the mesh. I'll come again, and this time I'll copy these two as well, Control Shift C, and then I'll paste it right in here like this. And there you go. For these two, this has to be kinematic like that. And there we go. That's all we need. It's already assigned, but to make sure, I'll come back to skeletal mesh, open this one. You have to come down here. You can see here we have the physics asset. It has to be this new physics asset like that. I'll save everything, and then I can close this. Now if I come here and play, you can see the tank is coming to the ground, and that's what we want in this case, because it should not stand in the air. And you have to enable the physics in it as well, like you should not forget this one. Then gravity should be enabled as well, like that. And then well, the tank is coming to the ground, but you can see the wheels is problem. It go like down the ground. So I'll come back in here, and then we can come to blueprints. Here we have input. I'll just create a new folder. I'll call that vehicle like this. I'll open this one. I'll right click. I'll create a new blueprint, and I'll search for chaos vehicle wheel. This is the one we need to create, and then I'll tell them this is BP wheel like that. Then I can open this one. Here we need to change some settings. The first one is this wheel radius and wheel weight. I'll change this to something like 40. And then we have wheel mass. I'll change this to a huge value like 1000. And then we can come down here. We have the slip threshold. I'll change this one to 100. I'll change this to 500. 1000 is, I think, a huge value. Then I can change this threshold to 1000. I'll change this one to 1000 as well. And then I'll tell him this is affected by brake, affected by handbrake, affected by engine, ABS enabled, like that. Then I'll not change any of these things. I'll come down here, not affected by steering. I'll come down here. Here we have this suspension, max raise and drop. I'll leave it as it is. And we have this spring rate. I'll change this to something like maybe 5000. This is a huge value. Spring reload, I'll leave it like that. Here we have suspension smoothing. I'll change that one to 1 as well, like that. And there we go. I'll just compile and save. So now I can come back to this tank class, and in here vehicle movement, I can come down here. You can see we have this engine setup in here, and here up here we have this wheel setup. We want to find the wheel setup, and you can see this is an array. We can add as many elements as we want. So I'll add elements, but before that I'll come here and count down the number of wheels this car has. You can see we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and 7 on the other side, that would be 14. So I need to add 14 wheels into this array like this, and then it needs the bone name. If I come back to skeleton and I'll open this one, and now you can see this the skeleton. I can find the bones in here. So in here I'll just search for the wheel like this. You can see we have all these wheels. You can select any one of them and you can find them, and then you can just rotate that around and check if that's the one we want select or not. I think down here these are not the main ones. I'll come down here and you can see this is wheel number 1, which is right in here. We'll start with wheel number 2, this one, and then you can see if I rotate this, I think that's this side. Yeah, you can see if I rotate that, this is just turning around, and that's great. I can just copy the name of this one. I'll copy bone name like that. You can see all the names are like this, well 2 3 4 5 6. You can come down here 7 8, and then change back start. I'll come right here. I'll come to the component, and then I'll just paste the name. This is the 2, this is the 3. I'll just change the name to 3 like this, and then I'll change I'll just paste this one right here. This is 3, this is 4. I'll paste all of them. After 7 is completed, now I can compile and come back in here. You can see we have 8 one as well, so I'll come and add 1 more because that starts from 2, not 1. That's why we have till 8. And I'll compile. Now let's come in here. This is the left one, this is the right one. I'll just come here and copy the right one, and then I'll come here and paste all of them as well. And there you go. When this is completed, now we need to select the wheel classes. If I come here, you can see we have wheel classes, and the good thing is we already have this wheel class. This is the one we created. I'll just find it right in here, and then I can simply apply them like this to all of them. We just need to apply the same wheel class. That would be fine. Just compile. I'll just apply it to all of them, and there you go. Now I can come and compile and save everything, and if I come here and play the game, and now you can see that stands on the feet, and that is the great thing. Now the vehicle is not like, the wheels are not going under the ground anymore. I can come here and close this skeletal mesh anymore, and this is our vehicle in here, and that seems kinda great. Okay, so now I'll come here and I'll bring this to the ground because now we know that it works, but you can see it just goes down there. I'll just bring it a little up like this, so it has to be on the ground like that, and there you go. Now before we play, we have to do some more work. I'll just come here, and there we have this engine setup, and in engine setup we have this torque curve, and in torque curve I'll create a new external curve, and then I'll come to blueprints. Here we have vehicle. I'll just give the same name, vehicle movement component, something like that, and then I can open this one. In here we need to add some keys. It would be a little complicated, but this torque curve is really important for the movement and things. So I'll come in here and tell him add the key. Middle mouse button is another shortcut for that. Then this can start with 1000 like this, and this value will give 150. Now you can see if I press if key, it has to be somewhere in here. Here you go, if key. I will bring this thing into the center. I can add another key as well in here. Now you can see we have 2 keys. In this one I'll tell him this is 2000 like this, and this is 238 like this, and I'll press if again in here. You can see now I can add another key, and I'll tell him this is 3000 like this, and this value will give something like 310, and I can press if again to bring everything into the center. I can add another key in here, and that key can be something like 3500, and I'll change this to 325 like this. Now I'll press if again. I can come and add another key in here. This can be 4472, and I can change this value to 315 like this, and there we go. I'll press if again. I'll add another key, and this key would be like 4981 like this, and I'll change this value to something like 275, and then I'll press if again. We can add another key like this, and I'll change this value to something like 5230, and then I'll come here. This is 170 like this, and let's add one more, not like this. I'll add one more key in here, and I'll tell him this is 5480 like this, and I'll make this value as 0. Now you can see this is the curve we want to create. I'll right click on all of them and tell him you need to change this to auto, and you already know the meaning of auto. I'll compile and save everything, and if I come back in here, you can see this is the curve which is already selected in here, and if I open, that's the one here, and that looks great. I can just come here and change some of these values as well. Here we have the max torque. I'll tell him this is around 4000 max RPE. I'll change this to 2500, and we have engine idle RPE that can be like 2000, and then we have engine brake effect. We'll tell him this is 1, and here we have engine rev up. I'll not change this, but we have this engine rev down rate that can be around like 8000. And then you can come down here. Here we have the mass of the vehicle. I'll change, this is a heavy vehicle. Let's change it something like 10,000, and we can change the center of the mass as well, but I think that's fine. Then I can come down here. We have this drag coefficient. I'll make this one, this value is 1, and then I can come down here. Here we have this torque control. I'll tell him enable torque control, and we have yaw torque scaling. So I'll tell him yaw torque scaling. I'll change this to something like 6. This is a better value. Then I'll come down here. Let's find some other values if we need to change them. Here we have this yaw input rate. I'll come here. You can see rise rate. I'll tell him this is 100, not 1000. And fall rate, I'll change this one to 100 as well, like that. And there we go. But there's one more thing that we need to do. If I come here and if I play the game, now you can see we can move around, but there's this problem, like the wheels are not turning, and that's because if I come up here, I'll just need to come to animation blueprint, and in animation blueprint I'll just come in here, And when we just do this mesh space ref pose, I'll have to add wheel controller in here, but you can see it's not there. That's because we need to change the parent class from animation instance to vehicle animation instance. Then I'll compile. Now if I come here and search for wheel controller, you can see we have the wheel controller. That's what we need to add in here, and yeah, that will do the work. If I come here and this time you can see the wheels are turning, but the thing is like okay, we're gone. Okay, that's not good. There's this problem, like we cannot move backward, which is not a problem. Is key only stops the car like this. Is key only stops the car, but it's not moving backward. So I'll just need to bring this vehicle a little backward so that we can take a beautiful shot of it. I'll just bring it like in this area, and then now if I play, we'll be just coming from this, like we'll just come right in here, and then we'll stop in here. We can just turn the turret and then we can shoot like that. So this is how we can just move the vehicle around, but there is some problem with the wheels still. Like some of the wheels are not turning, like running. If I come right here, you can see these if I come here, you can see these wheels are not turning and these things is not turning. We'll talk about this later, but for now I'll just fix this one. So that's this is how we can fix it. I'll come just here and just I'll tell him copy bone. We can just copy bone. I'll tell him just copy bone rotation only. And what's the source bone? Source bone, I'll just take any source bone, like I'll just search for wheel like this, and then down here we have this. I'll just select this too, and then okay, so there's the target bone. The target bone, I'll come here and find the target bone. Actually, if I come here and open the skeletal mesh, here we have the target bone. This is the one, so I'll just come here and search for the wheel. I don't know what can be the name of this one. I think this is the well number 1. Well number 1 is there, and well number 9 is this side for both of them. Okay, so I'll come here and tell him well number 1. Okay, did from this like left and right. I'll tell him this is well number 1. I can just duplicate this right in here, and this time I'll change the target to number 9. I can just duplicate it again like this, and this time I'll tell him this is right number 1, and then I'll duplicate it once more, and this time I'll tell him this is 9 like this. There you go. I'll just arrange it like they arranged it. I'll just put them on top of each other like this, and then I'll just bring and connect this one right in here. I'll connect this one right in here. I'll connect this one right in here, and there we go. And then the final result should be right in here. Now if I compile and save everything, now if I play the game, hopefully all the wheels would be turning. Now look at that. Now you can see all of them are running, and that's great. So this is how you can just copy the bones from one to another, and everything will work. So now we need to turn these things like around the wheels. I'll come in here, and this is our tank in here. Here we can access the anim instance. I'll come here and tell him get anim instance like this from the mesh, this mesh, and then I can just cast this to EBP, the tank, the one, this one, that's our, and then I'll just I'll bring these things a little this side. We don't need that. And then now I can, if that is valid, we can just promote this to variable, and I'll tell him this is tank and name instance like this, and there we go. That's what we need. If that is valid, we'll just promote that to that variable, and then you can come to tick function. And in tick function, I'll just get this one, and I'll tell him set speed wheel speed, offset wheel speed only. This is the variable. I'll just remove this one. This is related to speed. This is the same thing. I'll just compile and save everything, and then I can connect this. So you might be thinking, what's going on in here? If I come in here and open the animation blueprint, this is the animation blueprint. Here you can see we just update the wheel speed from here, and we are just setting this value. When we set this value, this will just do the calculation, and it will be called every frame, and according to that it will update these animations. And then okay, so how do we set this wheel speed? It's very simple. I'll just get the movement component, and from there I'll tell him get forward like this, forward speed, and then I can connect this one right in here. Now hopefully this will just update this wheel speed, and it will affect the blueprint, and the blueprint will run the animation for that. If I come here and go, now you can see everything is working perfect. We have, and it is just running. Sometimes it's running too fast. Look at that. That's why we can just clump this value. I'll just tell him to clump vector size, clump float. This is a float value. We can just clump the float, and I'll tell him we just want to clump this from -500 to +500, because it should not move too fast. So the value can be just between these two, and hopefully that would be a little better. You can just clump lower values if you think it's still moving too fast, but still it looks amazing. You can see right here. This is how you can just move it around, and yeah, this looks great. This is how you can just move I don't know what's it called, this thing, like this thing of the tank, but this is how you can move it. So now you can see there's one problem, like these shadows are too dark. First I'll just fix this problem. I'll search for skylight, and I'll add one skylight like this. I can see it's a little better, everything is visible, so that's what we want. Like in shadows we should be able to see the things. Without the skylight we cannot see anything. So to make it a little more brighter, I'll come here and I'll change this intensity scale to something like 1.5 or maybe 2. Now you can see it's a little brighter, and we can see everything fine in the shadows as well. That is great. I'll just save everything, and I'll just bring this a little down. It should not be visible. Now we can come back to tank. This time we want to rotate the turret, but how we can do that? For that I just want to rotate this while we are pressing S and D keys. So I'll come here and we have blueprint input. I'll create a new input action from the input, and I'll call that IA rotate turret. I think it's like that. I'll open this one and I'll tell them this is a float value. I'll save everything, and I can close this one. I'll come back in here and I can add this right in here. I'll tell him this is for rotating the turret, and this is D for rotating it right and A for rotating it left. So that's why we need to negate the value of A. I'll just tell him negate like that. I'll compile and save everything in here. I can come back to tank, and in tank I can come here to input actions. I'll tell him IA rotate turret. That's what we need. I'll just take this one, and now we can call something from animation instance. If I come here, get this one. Before that I'll come to parent class. In parent class you can see here we have this control turret horizontal rotation and control turret vertical rotation. We have both of them, and this is how we can just set them. You can see right here turret angle and turret elevation, but we're not going to talk about elevation for now. We just need to change the turret angle. So I'll come in here and tell him to set turret angle like this, and we can just set it right from here if that works. And if I come here, do we have turret rotation? We have these two. I'll just remove these two back. We don't need them. All we need to do is to just change this value. You can see right in here, this is gun elevation, this is turret rotation like that, and this would be set in an anim instance. If I come back in here and I can just open this anim instance, in anim instance here we should have the turret down here. Where is the turret rotation and things? This is object rotation for the wheels, for the hatch. This is for the turret. I'll come in here. This is how the turret angle and its elevation works, and this has to be called in here like every frame. I'll compile and save everything for this one, and I'll come and play the game. Now you can see if I just press D key, we just rotate this once, not more, like this. You can see this is some kind of problem, isn't it? If I come back in here in this area, because we're just adding one value into this, so that's why first I'll just do this thing like this, and then I'll come in here. I'll add a new variable. I'll tell him this is turret angle like this, and I'll tell him this is float value. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll just tell him this is turret angle 01, because I think there's another variable with the same name as well. So I'll just take this one, and the default value for this one has to be 0. So we'll start this from 0, and then I can just set a new one. Okay, I'll get this one, and I'll tell him add this one. So I can just add these two like this and set this value before we just do that work. So I'll just connect this one, not all of them, triggered, cancelled, and completed. This would be enough. If you connect it to all of them, still fine, but this would be enough. And then I'll add this one right in here. So what this will do, it is a very simple calculation. By default, the turret angle would be 0. I'm not sure if that is 0 or 90. I think that has to be 90 or something. Well, speed turret angle, let's see the default value for this, that's 0. So by default this would be 0, and when we go, like when we press D key, it will add 1 into that, which means like it will rotate to the right every time 1. When we do the A, it will just negate like -1 from that, and that's how we can rotate it backwards. I'll save everything, and now if I come in here, I can see I can just rotate it around, but it's just like the speed is too fast. You can see right here the speed is real fast, and this should not rotate that fast, because it has to be like a little control in this thing. So I can come in here and tell him divide this by 2, maybe, simple thing, and that way hopefully that would be a little better, because the value would be like half. Now you can see now it is a little slower, I think. So if I come here, and this time I'll divide this by something like maybe 5 or maybe like 8. So we just want to make it very slower, so this way you can see it is a lot slower. So like this is tank, this is a huge thing, it should not just rotate that fast. Now you can see we just come in here and we just rotate this around, and there we go, and then we boom do the shoot. That's how you can just do it around. So now let's talk about how we can use the sequence recorder to record the animations of this vehicle. So I'll just close these things, and then I'll come to the window, and here we have cinematics, and here we have take recorder. When I open this one, you can see we have these things. I'll just bring this one down here. This is the sequencer, and there's the thing. So there is this one thing that you have to remember. You might be thinking, okay, this was a very simple animation, we could have done it without doing all this work, like making the blueprint, making the vehicle class and things. But the thing is, the main point of this whole section was to learn how you can use the sequence recorder to record any moment of the game, which is kind of great, because in games you can do whatever you want, like the physics and things are very realistic. That's why a sequence recorder can be very helpful. Now I'll play the game. And when you play the game, you can come here to the source and add a source actor. In this case, that's called tank. I'll search for that. That's BP tank. I'll add this, and then we can play the game. Now you can see before we play the game, you should press F8 to take the mouse and start recording. It will take a while, and now the recording is started. Now I'll just tell him the camera movement will not be there, so it's not a big problem. I'll just come right in here and stop it, and then we can just slowly rotate. I think this was the wrong one. Well, sometimes that happens. I'll stop the recording. Now let's record it again, because we should come right here, stop it in here, and slowly rotate that. So I'll play the game again, and the source is already there. I'll start recording again, and let's go again. This time I'll just come right in here. The tank will stop in here. We'll just rotate a little more like this, and then we'll shoot. But still, this was not perfect. We'll take a little more shots, so that way it would be better, I think. I'll play the game again. So like in movies, you have to make things perfect. This time I'll just play. Oh no, not again. Okay, so like this will take some time. You have to be careful about it, because well, making a perfect shot, like taking a perfect shot, is not an easy task. Now you can see, I think that's a little better. Now we can just rotate like this, and then we just shoot. And I'll stop the game, and there we go. Now you might be thinking how we can find those things. That is very simple. You can just simply come here to the here we should have cinematics. Here we have cinematics, and takes. Here we have these takes, multiple takes. I think this is the last one. We just want to use the last one. I'll just open that one. Now you can see we just have the tank is coming and stops in here, the tires and things, and then it rotates slowly like that. Now you can just watch it from any angle you want. Let's say you just want to put a camera in here. Now you can see it's coming like this, then slowly rotates. We can just make the animation a little smoother, bring a little more change in this. That would be good. But now you might be thinking we have two tanks. You can just remove one of that, because this one is with the sequencer, the other one is already in there. So you can just remove it like this, because we won't need that anymore. Like now you can see everything is all right. You can just take it from a different angle. The tank is coming. Like we'll be taking a shot like this. You can see right here, so we don't see where the tank is coming from. Now you can see tank is coming, stops in here, and then it rotates like that, and then we can take a different shot from this angle. Let's see, and then they will rotate like this, and then boom, that's shot. So this is how you can just record multiple, like in just a few seconds we recorded all these animations. If you want, you can just record more animations. You can add some more functionality to this, like we didn't add turning around, because this course is not focused on vehicles, but you can just add the steering input as well, and then you can just turn the tank around. You can move around. You can add some more functionality like shooting and things. You can add a lot of things into this tank and things, and that everything will work perfect. So yeah, this is all about this video. In this video I've talked about how you can record, like use the tick recorder to record any animations you want. Let's say you just want to record character animations. That's also very simple. You can just come in here, and you can just add feature pack, and I'll tell them you want to add third person. You can just simply add the third person like this, and then I'll add the one third person into the world, and then I'll tell him we just want to possess this third person. I'll tell him this is as player 0, and then I can just play the game. You can see now this is character. We can just move around and things, and all you need to do is to come to window, and then you can come here to the take recorder. You can add this third person character, which is called BP third person character. Which one is this one? I'll come, this is third person character on the third person character. This one, I'll choose that one. I'll remove the other one because that is not in the map anymore, and then I'll play the game. I'll tell him start the recording. It will take a while, and when recording is started, now you can just move around. You can just go anywhere you want. Like making this kind of animation would be very difficult in sequencer, but in game playing these animations is very simple. You can just go around. You can add some more functionality to the character, like jumping, shooting and things. You can add all of them, then you stop the game, and yeah, that's it. That's all we need to do. There's some problem, I think there was, and then if I come back to the cinematics in text, this one. I think this is the one. I'll open this one. Now you can see, you can just play the game, play the sequencer, like this is the movie. Now you can see the character is just moving around, running around, and that looks great. Look, like making these kind of animations are very difficult in real life. Look at the different curves, like we're running around. It's very difficult. Like when you do have different functionality for the character shooting and things, that will also be recorded. That would be great. Okay, you can make some realistic animations from these sequencers. So that's why these are very useful techniques that you can use anytime you want to record a scene from the game and put different camera angles into that and record it. This would be useful. So now we will create a new sequencer for the tank. I'll come right here and tell him we need to add a new level sequencer to the cinematics, and I'll tell him this is tank shot 001 if in case we want to add more shots. So I'll just tell him we need a shot truck like this, and in shot truck I'll come here. Which one was the one? I think this is the one we wanted. You can see that comes, and then we rotate that like that. Yeah, this is, I think this is a perfect one. Then first of all I'll just move this like this, and then we just make it a little huge like this. Now you can see that yeah, till this area like this. I can see that's how when we rotate in this thing, here we want to shoot like that. So you can see we are in the sequencer and we just rotate slowly, and then we can shoot later on. But for now, the second thing is we can come right here and tell him we need to add a sign camera actor like this. I'll add it, then I'll add the sign camera actor to the sequencer. Now that's up to you how you want to set up this camera for the tank. I just want to put it like this, and I'll take this a wide angle shot like this. Now the tank would be just like this. This would be our first camera that we see, like this. The tank is coming till this area. We just want to rotate it up. But before that, I'll just come to the beginning. I'll just add this transform into this. Then I'll come right in here. I'll just rotate this like this, and there we go. I'll just bring the camera a little up as well, so that way I think it would be a little better. And yeah, the auto key should be enabled, but I'll add this one as well. Now you can see I'll just tell him we want to change this to linear. Now you can see when we play, we have the camera and the tank cams, and in this place we want to change the shot. So for that, I'll tell him we want to add another sign camera actor like this. I'll tell him we want to add this one to the sequencer like this as well, and then this one I want to take from this angle. So, and I'll just do the same thing for this camera as well. I'll just make it a little wider shot. I'll bring it a little, or maybe just a little different shot like this, maybe. Like that's up to you. Or maybe like this is just the turning. I'll just put the camera right in there like this. The tank should be in the middle like this. I'll just bring it a little closer and make it a little wider shot like that. And then okay, that will do later, but for now I'll add a transform in here, and then slowly when we rotate that, we can just slowly move the camera as well like this. Now you can see this is how you just slowly move the tank, and slowly, or maybe I'll tell him we just want to bring this a little down. Actually, that's like we can just take a good shot from this angle, and now you can see that will, and in this place I'll also do the same thing. I'll just bring it a little up like this. So now it's a little better, I think. You can see we just rotate both the camera, or maybe we can just remove the camera animation. That seems to be too much. First I'll just bring it right in here, and then we can just slowly rotate with it like this. Not too much animations, just a simple thing. I can see it's just rotating like that. And yeah, that's the second shot we get in here. And the third camera, I'll come here and add another sign camera actor. I'll add this sign camera actor to the sequencer as well. And that shot we want to take from this angle so that we can just shoot like this. And we'll just shoot at this car or something like that. I'll just leave this camera at this area. I'll change this to something like 30. Oh, that's I think 50. We want it 30. And then I'll tell him we want to focus. Down there we have focus settings. I'll tell him we just want to focus in this area like that. And yeah, that's what we need. I'll just add a slow motion to this one as well. Like maybe a little bit up like this. Yeah, I think that's good. Not too much. And here we can just shoot. I'll just bring it a little like to the end. So the animation should be a little slower. Not too much. I'll come here. Now you can see slow animation. Boom, we just shoot in here. And yeah, I'll just make this a little like this. Now you can see this is how we can just shoot. Or you can just change the camera, but I think it's fine. It's not that bad, but still I just don't feel like these shots or something that you have to work on. Like it takes some time of yours and you have to be careful with it, otherwise it won't be that cool, as you can see. So now you can see till this area. I'll just bring it a little bit like this, maybe a little this side. Now you can see, let's see if that's fine. Yeah, and then we can shoot it there. So this is how you can add different camera angles to the camera. Now I'll come here to the final shot, and in final shot we just need different cameras. I'll come in here. You can see this is the shots we can just take in here. And then I'll come in here and tell him we need camera cat truck. I'll add the camera cat truck. I'll come, this is the first camera would be starting from actor 2. I'll just take it from this one. Okay, and then I'll come right in here. When we reach in this area, I'll change from camera 2 to 3. And then when we reach into this area, I'll change from camera 3 to 4. Now the final cut would be just from 3 different cameras. If I play, tank comes like that, and then that rotates, and then we have a different shot, and then we can just take it from that. These things will make better in while we're making trailer. Like we will do some editing in there as well. We'll make it some more cinematic in there. So these are the things you can just take from the Unreal Engine. This shot, that's all we need. This shot we need, and this shot we need. In this shot we'll add the shooting thing as well, like doom shoot, like that. So this is how you can just add these things. You can just add some character and things as well in here, and that's up to you. Like you can just add and attach a character into this area. So now let's talk about how you can attach a character in here. That can be like, it can be in the middle of the tank. I'll open this one, and in here I can come in here, like attach to this mesh. I'll tell him we need a new skeletal mesh, and this new skeletal mesh can be our character. I'll come down here and I'll find this one like this, and then I'll bring this a little up. I'll attach this to something. I'll come here and tell him we want to attach this to the turret GNT, this one. Now you can see it's up here. I'll just bring it a little down like this much, and then I'll rotate this to face the tank like that, and you can just bring it a little more down. You can play some animation in here as well. I'll tell him we want animation in acid. I'll tell him this is any idle animation that can be maybe some kind of animation. This he should not have a weapon, because he'll be just like standing in there, maybe like this. He'll be just looking around. I'll just bring it a little down so his hands should not be visible in our camera, that he's just standing like he has a rifle. Now you can see he's just standing in there, and he's just moving with the tank. Like when the tank moves, because he's attached to the tank, And that is just an amazing thing. Look at that. He just looked that side, he looked that side, and boom, he shoots. But his hand is a little bit visible and he's just moving too fast. So I'll just change. I'll come here to animations and find some cool animation for idle, and I'll just search for all idle animations. And this is the, I'll check this one. It's a normal animation. It's like sitting animation, standing, but I don't want him to be like just like standing in there. So it's good to be like have some animation and things. So I'll select this one. I'll just find this animation. It's right in here, and then I'll apply this animation in here. Now you can see I can just bring it a little down, and that way like he's busy doing some work in there. Now you can see when you play the game, he'd be just like busy in there doing his work, and then boom, he shoots. But he should not be looking too down, so that's why I think the other animation was good. This animation he does nothing, but there was this animation. I think this is a little better, because in this one he moves a little faster and it's visible like he's moving around and things. Now if I play the tank cams and he's in there, he's just busy looking around and just turning, and then boom, he shoots like that. So this is how you can attach any other thing you want to attach. That will look amazing, more cinematic, more things in the scene. That is just great. So now let's talk about shooting functionality. If I come this side, okay, there is this little problem. Now it's fine. I'll come right in here. We want to shoot. For that we have some really cool effects. If I come down here, you can see here we have FX or effects, and these effects are for shooting. If I just open them, this is one, this is dust, okay, that's fine, and this is muzzle fire. You can see right here, it's a huge one, and that looks amazing. And there we have this one. This is I think for, yeah, this is for the shockwave. Look at this. This is just amazing. We want to play both of this, and this is just the dust. We don't want to that. These are the two we want to use. So I'll come right here. First I'll add this muzzle flush, and then I'll bring it a little up in here. We need to just rotate it 90 degrees like this. Then I'll bring it in here. If I just make it look, yeah, that's fine. Now I'll bring it right in here into the right place. So you have to be careful with this. From up, this area, this place is correct, and from, I'll bring it a little down like this. I think that's perfect. Oh no, that's not perfect. Okay, we just need to bring it a little this side. It's a little difficult to manage this without having side views and things. Now you can just change between them, but in my case I'll just move it like that. I'll change this to 5 to move it a little this side like that. I think that's now fine. And then I can add it to the sequencer like this. I'll just bring it to the sequencer, and then I'll click in this one, and here you can see we have this toggle track, and here we can activate it or deactivate it in here. I'll tell him it has to be deactivated till this area. I'll just deactivate it like this, and then I'll go 1 frame forward like this. I'll just activate in here, active, and then I'll go further and I'll deactivate it back. So we don't need it. I'll just remove this one. So we just want to shoot once. Now you can see when we reach there, we just boom, and there we go. Now we need to add the shock wave as well. A shock wave is also really important. That's a really cool effect, but we need to bring that to the same place as well. The first thing is I'll add it to right in here so that we can check, like we can play it. I'll bring it in here, and yeah, in the same thing, I'll just add this toggle track as well. I'll come in here, and when we enable the other effect system, we need to enable this one as well. So I'll just bring it a little closer. There you go. So first it has to be deactivated in this area, deactive, and I'll bring in here, and I'll tell him active. Okay, now I'll just add a key in here, and I'll deactivate in this place. I'll just bring this a little not like that. Okay, now I think it's fine. Now you can see both of them do the same time. I'll select this one, I'll bring it right in here, I'll just rotate it a little bit, or I can just copy the location and the rotation. I'll just copy the location of this one and I'll give this one the same location. So I will do for the rotation as well. I'll just tell him paste the rotation. Now you can see that is great. You can see, but it seems like we just do the shooting first a little bit, it seems like. So I'll just come here, I'll tell him this is should be deactivated in this place, it has to be deactivated in here as well, or I can just remove this key. Let's be careful with this because it's a real important thing in here. I can see there are a lot of things going on in here. I'll just bring this one. Now you can see this one has to activate the shooting, and well, okay, I'll just remove this one, the whole thing for once, and then I'll tell him be deactivated in here and get active in here. Well, we need to add a key in here and deactivate in here, and we'll go further. I'll tell him to be deactivated back in this place. That's what we need. And I also need to deactivate the other one. Yeah, it's not deactivated. I'll tell him deactivate this one as well. Now you can see that is perfectly fine. We just activate them for 1 frame, and that way we shoot. Now you can see if I come in here, you can see I'll just enable the game view mode like that. Now when we rotate and then we shoot, there we go. That looks amazing. Like this. I think we just need to bring this a little backward, maybe like this. How is that now? There we go. That seems to be good. Now if I see this from the final camera cut like this, you can see we just rotate around like this, and then we shoot like this, and yeah, that's great. So this is how you can just do shooting. And there is one more thing, like you can just take this shot from different angles. We have this one camera. I just want to add one more camera as well, because I don't think that one camera is enough for this cinematic shot. So I'll tell him sign camera actor. I'll bring the new camera actor, and then I'll add this one to the sequencer as well like this. And there we go. I just need to take the shot from different angle. You can see the character is also in there. I'll just change the camera focal length a little bit. I'll tell him it's good to be 20, and yeah, there you go. Maybe like it's up to you which angle you want to take the shot from. I'll just tell him maybe this angle, or maybe like this angle. Yeah, this is also a good one. You can see the character in here as well, and while you're shooting, that would be just amazing. Now you can see if I come right in here, we just rotate and then we just shoot like that. That is great. And you can just take some far away shots as well. That would be amazing. You can see we just rotate around and things, and I'll take it like this. Now you can see we just shoot. But there's one more thing I want to do, and that would be camera shakes. Like when we do the shooting thing, we need a camera shake. Like a camera should shake, right? So we'll talk about camera shakes in the next lecture. It's a huge topic again, not that much huge, but it's a really important one, because for cinematic scenes, camera shakes are really important. Like it's vital. Now let's talk about camera shakes. Like the cameras are close to the tank, so that's why when it shoots, these shock waves should affect the camera. That's why camera will shake. So first we will create some camera shakes in Unreal Engine. If I come right here, I'll tell him we need to create a new blueprint class based on camera shake. If you search for camera shake, you can see we have a camera shake base, we have camera shake source actor in here, we have this camera modifier, and many more things. Default camera shake base. I'll select the camera shake base, and I'll tell him this is BP camera shake, or maybe I'll tell him this is a tank camera shake, so that we can understand it is related to tank. Now you can see this is the base, so that's why we don't have much information about this. Is a single source, the class default, and things are here. So that's why this was not a good idea to create this blueprint class based on camera shake. I'll just copy its name and I'll remove this one back. I'll come again and tell him this time you want to use camera shake but not the base class, because base class does not have much functionality, specifically the functionality we need. So we have this default legacy camera shake. I'll select the default camera shake base and I'll give this a name like this. I'll open this one, and now you can see here we have some things in here. I'll just bring this one in here. You can see this is the camera shake, and this is this defines what, like, which things, how you want to move the camera. You want to move the camera location, its rotation, and you want to change the field of view of the camera. And down there is the duration, like for how long time you want to move the camera. I will change this maybe 1 second or maybe 0.7. I think 1 second is long time, because that is not a huge shock wave. So I think 0.7 second is a fine time for this. And here we have the location. You want to change the location, and here we have this location amplitude multiplier, and down here we have location frequency multiplier. This is how long you want to change the location of this camera, and also this is the frequency, how fast it should be. I'll tell him we will multiply this by 4, and I'll tell him location frequency multiplier. This can be too fast, so I'll just make it like 9. We'll check that if it's fine or not. Down here we have for the X, Y, and Z, like which location you want to change. I'll tell him he will change all the locations, because this is the shock wave, so it will like shake the whole camera. So I'll change maybe for frequency 9, same thing for 9. So we can just change these things. If they're not working well, we can just change it later as well. What about the rotation? I don't want to change any rotation, so you can just check the rotation as well, because the camera can like shake and it can rotate a little bit as well. But I'm gonna skip the rotation because we don't want to change the rotation and field of view, but we can check it. I'll just show you how you can do that, but we're not gonna use this one for this specific shot. I'll come right here. Now we have the camera shake, and down here we can use this in camera number 4 and 5, because we just shoot only in this case. So when we shoot in here, right in here, we can add a camera shake in here. You can see we have the camera component and things. If I come right here, click in here, and here we have the attachment, audio, events, we have transform, and down here we have camera shakes, and we can select the camera shake in here. This is the blueprint, the one we created. I can just apply it in here. Now you can see the camera moves, and I can just bring it a little this side like this. Now you can just zoom it in a little bit, so you can see everything clearly. Now you can see when you just play the game, you can just shoot, but I just want to bring it a little this side because the camera shakes before we shoot even. Now you can see, yeah, there you go. Now you can see it's a little better. The camera shake affects like when we shoot, but I will change the frequency a little bit. It's too fast, I think. I'll change this to 5, 5, 5, all of them, not 9. Let's check it again. So this is again up to you how you want to change the frequency, the amplitude multiplier. Let's say I'll change this to something like 20. Now you will see a different result. I'll come in here. Now when you play, you can see now the location is like it's shaking too much, but in this case it's not good to be that much. So I'll change this back to something like 5. That's amplitude multiplier. Now you can see the camera is not moving too much, and then you can just change this. I'll change this something like 9 back, and duration I'll change to 0.4, like 0.4 like that, because it shouldn't be that much. Now you can see it's a little better. It ends very soon, and you can add this blend in time and blend out time. I'll change this 1. It can start like with 1 or maybe 0.1 or 0.5, because it should start immediately, and blend out time is 0.2. That's fine. Now you can see it starts immediately and slowly shakes away. Or maybe we can just change the this duration to 0.9, and I'll change the blend out time to something like 0.5, because it should slowly, the camera is shaking and then slowly comes back to normal. So this is how, like, normally it comes back to normal, but that's too much. So 0.7 was a good value, and I'll change this to 0.4 like that, and there you go. So this is like, it takes time how you want to manage these things, and whatever thing looks good to you, you can just manage it from here. And I told you I'll show you the rotation as well. You can just come in here and add the rotation multiplier. I'll tell him this is let's say 12, and the rotation frequency multiplier, I'll change this to 9. I'll not affect any of this pitch, yaw, roll. Now you can see the camera rotates as well. Look at this, camera rotates as well. And yeah, I think that looks cool. So I'll add the camera rotation multiplier as well. So I'll not make it that much. I'll just change this value to 3 like this, and I'll change this value to 7. So now you can see it rotates as well. When we just look at that, yeah, this is much better actually. Look at this, yeah. When you shoot, it's like wow. And then down here we have field of view. Field of view we're not going to use for this shot, but field of view we like the camera field of view, so it can zoom in and zoom out. I'll just show you, but we're not going to use it. This one is for sure. Amplitude, I'll give a value of 6, and frequency, I'll tell him that's 12. So now you can see it will zoom in and out as well. Look at this. Now if I come here, I can see this doesn't look good for this shot, but still it's not too bad actually. Yeah, look at this. But we can use it, or maybe not, but I'll change the amplitude to 2 and the frequency to something like 5. We can use it a little bit, not too much. So now you can see if I play this time, it's perfect. Look at this. Yeah, this is how you can just shoot. And yeah, this is amazing. Now we can add a little more time in here. I'll tell him this is 0.8 seconds, and the blend out time is 0.4. That's fine. Now we have a little more duration like this, and we shoot like that. And the good thing is, when you complete, like when you make the camera shake, then you can use it in any camera. Simple thing. I'll bring to this camera, and I'll tell him we want to add the camera shake right in here. You can see without camera shake, it's like this. Well, nothing happens. It is not that cool. But if I come here and tell him we want to add a camera shake, and we can use the same camera shake in here as well, and then when I play this time, look at this, it's great. So that's why without camera shake and with camera shake, this is a huge difference. Now you can just come in here to the final camera cat, and then you can just play this whole thing from the beginning. Tank cam stops, and then we rotate a little bit, and then we boom, we shoot. That's great. But we don't have any sound effect as of now. That is fine, not too bad. But we will definitely add a sound effect in the video editing software, like in Blender we can add it. You can say this is just great. You can just add another camera shake while tank is coming. The camera should be shaking a little bit, because this tank is huge. It can, while it moves, it can affect the area around it. So that's why we can make another camera shake. This is for shooting camera shake. I'll just change his name from tank camera shake. I'll tell him this is tank shoot camera shake. I can also create another one. I'll come to blueprint and tell him this is another camera shake actor. Down here we have the base. I'll take that one. I'll tell him this is BP. This is tank movement camera shake like this. There you go. I can open this one as well, and this can be a little different. How can this be? I'll tell him we just want to move its location very slowly by 2 maybe, and the frequency can be like 9, not the rotation. And the duration, I'll change it to something like the duration it starts is like around 2 seconds. Well, 90, this is 3 seconds. I'll make it 3 seconds. I'll just come to this new camera shake. I'll tell him this is 3 seconds like this, and the blend in time and the blend out time is 1 second. And yeah, we can check it, and if that works, we'll check if we need to change it or not. We'll apply this to camera number 2. I'll tell him we need another camera shake for this one, and that is the tank movement camera shake. Now you can see it is like this. Now it's like not moving too much, so you can just come here, and I'll tell him we will need to change the value of location amplitude multiplier. I'll change this to something like maybe 5, and we have location frequency multiplier value. That's 9. That's fine. And now the camera would be moving a little faster. Now you can see, but I still want to change the frequency multiplier as well. I'll change it to something like a higher value, 90. Now let's see. I'll see, now it's like moving a little faster. I'll change this to 3, like the amplitude multiplier. And then there's one more thing. 50 is too much. I'll change it to 35 for frequency multiplier. And if I come here, we'll be playing this in slow motion. So I'll come here and change this to a little slow motion. Now you can see when the tank cams, the camera shakes a little bit. The tank stops. Shaking of the camera is done. So that's great. Now you can see we just rotate the turret of the tank and then we shoot. We have a good camera shake for that as well. That is kind of great. So this is the movement shakes. That's up to you how you want to move it. Like you can change the values from here. This is the location amplitude multiplier. This is the location frequency multiplier. The values in here. Down here you have the X, Y, and Z values for the location. And down here you have the rotation. You can just add rotation amplitude multiplier or rotation frequency multiplier as well. And down here we have the rotation pitch, yaw, and roll. You can just change like any one of them. And down here you have camera field of view. That's also up to you, but it's not like this does not have much use in these cases. Like you cannot use it too much while shooting and things. And down here you have the timing. You can just change the duration, blend in and blend out animations as well. So this is all about this lecture. This was a great one about camera shakes, how you can create camera shakes and how you can apply camera shakes, changing the value, the amplitude value and frequency values. And also the good thing about camera shakes are you can reuse it again and again, like as much as you want. Like we've used the tank shoot camera shake multiple times and it works fine. It's time for the render. Rendering is one of the most important parts of any animation. If it's movie or anything, rendering is really important. So first of all, if you want to take a screenshot, if you just need a single frame, screenshot might be a very good option for you. So if I come here, let's say we want to take a screenshot from this angle, or I'll just want to take a screenshot right from here, maybe like whatever you want to take a screenshot. Then that is very simple. Let's find a good angle that we want to take a screenshot from. I'll say I want to take a screenshot from this angle. All these things should be visible. So one option is if you press F9, but that will not take a good screenshot for you. The other option would be to come right here and tell him high resolution screenshot, and here you can just multiply this by any value. In my case, I'll tell him by 4. You can see it's a very high quality. I'll tell him capture, and there you go. It will take a screenshot for you, a very high quality screenshot. Sometimes it takes a while because, well, this is a map and you just want to take a very high resolution screenshot. Now you can see screenshot is taken. You can just click in here and you can find it in here. This is a very high resolution screenshot. Look at this, it's 15 MBs, and look at this. You can just zoom it in, and yeah, it is good, but it's not that much high quality. And the thing is, like, we are not focusing on a tank, that's why it's not a good quality. So I'll just come here back to Unreal Engine, and this time I'll tell him from the camera, which camera. This is the camera number 4, and the manual focus is right in here. So this time I'll come again and tell him we want to take another screenshot. This time I'll multiply by 4 again, and I'll tell him capture. It will take a while again, and when it's captured you can just come again in here. This time it's another screenshot, and this is a little better, but still, well, the screenshot cannot be that much high quality. But still, like sometimes you want to take a shot like this, it's a very good idea. Even if you don't have a camera anywhere, you can still take a screenshot. I'll tell him we'll come out of the camera, then I can come to this angle. I'll tell him we just want to take a screenshot right from here. I'll enable game view mode like this. You can just come in here, press G key like this. You can just enable it like this, and then you can come here, field of view. You can change the field of view of the camera as well. I can see I'll tell him you want to take a screenshot like this. You can see that character is in there, the tank and the tank. You can just change the field of view a little more so the tank should be visible like this. That's a lot better. Look at this. I think this is a very good screenshot we can take from here. And I'll tell him we want to take a screenshot again, and this time again I'll multiply by 4. We want a high quality screenshot. It will take a while, and when this shot is completed, now you can see we have this is 20 MB, and look at this. It is amazing. Look at this. It's high quality, the character, the tank, everything looks amazing. So this is one way of taking a screenshot, some high quality renders from Unreal Engine. And other way would be to render your real movie. So if I come here to camera cuts, this is what we have in here. I'll just disable this. Oh yeah, that's fine. I can see we want to render this thing like we have the tank. We just rotate this around and then we shoot. So we cannot do this whole thing from the screenshot. We need to render this thing. And there was one more thing that I want to do. Like first we have this shockwave and then we shoot. We should shoot first and then we should have the thing, you know. So I'll just zoom it in a little more. So first we want to shoot. So I'll bring the shoot a little this side. Now you can see first we shoot, then we so have the shockwave. I'll bring it a little more this side. Now you can see that is good. Just bring this a little this side and bring this right in here. Now let's say shoot and then that thing. And we need to bring the camera shakes as well this side, because the camera shake should be with the shoot. I'll bring this camera shake this side as well. Now you can see it's perfect. If I check it this time, let's say, and that seems to be good. Now you can see first we shoot because the shoot should be visible. Still, I'll just bring the shockwave a little more there so we should see the whole shooting thing. If I just bring it right in there, you can see that is a huge thing, but for whatever reason I think we see the shockwave as well. It shouldn't be visible, yeah, or should also yeah. Now you can see I'll just bring the shockwave into this area. Now you can see if I play, first we shoot and then we have the shockwave after that. So the shooting is also very clearly visible. That's really important. Now let's render the final movie. One way is to come right here and render. If you don't see this thing like movie render queue, then you can come and enable a plugin. Come to plugin and search for render movie queue. This plugin should be enabled. If it's not enabled, you will not see the thing, so you have to make sure that this is enabled. And after enabling this plugin, you can come right here and open this thing, and you can tell them we want to change some settings. You can just render to JPG, or maybe you can just select any other exports like PNG and things. We'll select this AXR, and here we can change some of the settings. I'll change this to DWAA like this. And here you can add this anti-aliasing. I'll change the temporal sample count to 32 or 64. I'll change it to 32, and I'll tell him override anti-aliasing like that. And then we can come add some other things as well. You can see we have burn, camera, color output, we have a game override, we have high resolution. I'll tell him we want high resolution things. And then you can have down here, you have a lot of other things as well. Detail lighting and things. We have path tracing and UI as well, but we want to add some console variables. So I'll come right here and tell him we want to add some console variables. Console variables gives you more power, and using these console variables you can do a lot of work. So you can add some console variables like we will tell him r.screen percentage. This is the one. I'll bring this and we can give a value from 150 to 200. I'll use something like 200, a high value. You can add another one as well. let's say I'll use something like r.ambient occlusion, like this, ambient occlusion dot. You can see we have a lot of other things as well. We have denoiser, we have denoiser dot temporal occlusion. This is the one we want to use. The value should be 0. Like I want to use 0. You can change the value as well, and you can add a lot of other variables as well in here. I'll add them and I'll leave them in the resources of this lecture as well, that you can just find them and add them, or you can see this thing, and then I'll show you. It's very simple. You can just add and write the name and then give the value. So when I add them, I'll be back. So I've added all these cancel variables. You can see there are a lot of them. Some of their values are 0, the others are different values. So you can just use them like this. You can have a look at them right in here, or you can just copy the names, or I'll just copy this thing and paste this text in there. All you need to do is to come here and paste it like this, and you will have all these variables with the same value. And then I'll tell them accept. Now you can see it is in here. But there's the thing. You can just come here and save this whole thing to use it for the other shots as well, because we have the slow motion as well. I'll tell him save preset, and we can just save it in here. I'll tell him this is for the presets like this, and tell him this is high quality render like this, and you can use it anytime you want. It's saved in there, and the next time you just select this one and it would be all right. Down here you can see you can select the location for this one. I'll just select this location like this, and you can just multiply the output by 2 to make it 4K or something like that. You can use custom frame rate. I'll tell him you want to use custom frame rate of 48. That would be a lot of frames, but sometimes we want to use slow motion, so that's why it's good to use 48 and override existing output. That's fine. And here you can just handle frame count, and down here you have use custom playback, like if you want to use a custom playback start to end. But I'll tell him you want to use the whole sequence. If you want to render 1 or 2 or some of the frames, then you can just give the start frame count and the end as well. But in my case, I'll tell him you want to use the whole thing, and yeah, that's all you need to do. I'll just accept this one, and everything's all right. And then you can just tell him to start render. But before starting the render, I'll just save this preset as well. Editor movie pipeline queue. I'll tell him yeah, we just want to save it like that, so that next time you want to do the same thing, like render the same quality things, and specifically for the next one, like the next thing we have in there, the slow motion, the bullet slow motion, we can use that. So I'll tell him to render local. It will take some time, and when it's rendered, I'll be back. So after the render is successful, you can go and find that and open it in Photoshop, as that is XR format. So you can open it in any photo editing software. You can see it's really high quality, and that looks good. It's a little blurry because, well, in our camera we have blur and it's moving. We have the things like it has the camera shakes as well, and we have these effects as well, because by default it was not disabled, so you just deactivate it at the beginning and that would be all right. Now you can see this is the final render. I just checked this one frame. You can just check and import this as sequence to any video editing software. So this is all about this one, and in this video we have talked about how you can render high quality videos or things from the Unreal Engine. I'll see you in the next one.